What's going on, you guys? Happy Sunday. It's your girl, Vanity V. I want to talk to y'all about something. And really quickly, the topic is that men cannot handle breakups. I've been feeling this way for a while, but I'm going to tell you what kind of sparked me wanting to even talk about this topic and like the deeper issue. We're going to talk about it. It's Tyrese, you guys. He is the epitome of a man who is broken and hurt. And recently he did an interview on the Joe Budden Podcast, which is actually really good. If you guys have not checked it out, go check it out. I think Joe released it on his Patreon, but it's now on YouTube. So y'all go and see what I'm talking about. So he did his interview, which, if you know, Tyrese is on my sick and shut-in list. Like, I almost gave up, like, dang, he's one of our beloveds. And it's like, I don't even want to talk about him because he's so, like, crazy and screwed up and everything. Like, I can't take Tyrese. I still believe Tyrese is annoying AF. However, this interview that was absolutely hilarious. Joe Budden and his crew are going to always, bring the entertainment to an interview. But this interview kind of humanized Tyrese. And after I watched it, I was like, everything makes sense. Well, not everything, but a lot of the behavior from Tyrese, it makes sense on where he's at in his life and why has been conducting himself specifically in the last 2 years the way that he has. Okay, so again, men cannot handle breakups, y'all. Women, it's not like, breakups are tough. A lot of times, statistics say that a lot of times breakups are harder than a death. But for whatever reason, well, I have some reasons and some theories behind this. They're hard for women too, but men, a breakup can literally cripple a man. And that is what we are seeing with Tyrese. This man is not over his ex, okay? It's evident in everything that he does. He cannot stop talking about her. And he said some mess during the interview with Joe Budden, saying something like, no, people think I'm obsessed with my ex, but that's because, we don't give the same latitude to men to express themselves after a breakup, da-da-da-da-da. No, Tyrese, absolutely not. Stop it. Cut it out. You're not over that lady. And that's okay, because remember, Tyrese got with his new girlfriend, Zimmy, which, Zimmy, I need you to run, girl. I'm going to need you to run as far away from this as you can if you don't want to end up hurt, because I am more clear than I've ever been after this interview that he wants his ex back, his ex-wife. But remember when he broke up with his ex-wife and they had all of that beef and they both went to social media to air out their grievances? He was with Zimmy like, what, was it even a month later? And so he's saying that just because he cannot stop talking about this woman, that doesn't mean that he's not over her or whatever. And we need to give men the latitude to express themselves. That is true. I absolutely believe that we should allow men to be more vulnerable, more expressive in their feelings. And I think that's why the delete yourself rate amongst men, specifically black men, is so high, because I do think that black men don't have an outlet to talk to anybody about things, right? But in this incident with Tyrese, okay, you can talk about things, but we don't need to know about it. You know what I mean? That's how you know someone's obsessed, when they have to take to social media. Well, he has an obsessive personality in general, but when you have to take to social media to tell us everything, yes, get your tribe of men, Tyrese, so that you can vent to them and that you can, tell them all the things that you're like telling us that, we are asking to be taken out of the group chat. You're in therapy, or you were in therapy. Stay in therapy till you can work through this. I've been through breakups. I've been through things. I know it's hard, but you talking to us about it is not going to be helpful. You mentioned you're working on an album. Tyrese, put it in the music. That's what Mary be doing. Them be her best albums. Tyrese, put it in the music. But I found it interesting in this interview, you guys, that every time Joe, they had a whole section of the interview where they specifically talked about her. It lasted way too long. But Joe would ask questions about other things and he would bring it, or, someone else, Flip or whoever, and he would bring it right back to the ex-wife. Joe had specifically asked him about the beef with The Rock. Tyrese is like, which is great. It seems like, The Rock and Tyrese have mended their relationship because he was acting a whole fool towards The Rock. The Rock, you're lovely and very forgiving, because I wouldn't have forgiven him for how he was acting towards you on the internet. But anyway, nonetheless, Joe asked him about that. Tyrese is like talking about it, and somehow he immediately switched the subject back to his ex-wife. And I was just like, oh, he's hurt. And he talked about how devastated he's been in this breakup, that it crippled him. He said that, he talked about the fact that he's had a troubled childhood. His mom, he had a whatever relationship with his mom. It was tumultuous. And then I don't think that his dad was in his life. And he was saying, what he got, the love he got from his wife was like unlike any other, which is great. That's the way it's supposed to be. And he said he felt at home with her. He said that, he received favor from God from being with her, that sounds great, right? These are all the things that, you want to get from your mate when you get married. That's why you get married. It sounded beautiful. But then he said he talked about how amazing she was. And then the next breath, he I don't want to say dogged her out. Well, he kind of dogged her out because he was saying she turned out to be a fraud. She had fronted in the relationship. She was talking about how, I don't want money, and, money is not a thing to me. And then, it comes out she's money hungry and wants $20,000 in child support and da-da-da-da-da, right? And so he was just saying that, she turned out to be someone else that he never knew that she would be. Not to mention, you remember, she left him. And he was very adamant about reiterating that. She left him. She left me. She left me. How dare she leave me? And then she, she wants this. She wants to keep the lifestyle, and then da-da-da-da-da. Well, unfortunate for you, Tyrese. This is unfortunate that you had an ironclad, prenuptial agreement, which you were smart, but you had a baby with her. And we all know, or maybe we don't, I do realize that prenups and child support are, they're not the same. You can have a prenup, and had you not had a child with her, Tyrese, you would have been straight. She would have walked away with nothing. But the fact that you had a child support and spousal support are they're not the same. One is separate from the other. So you are obligated to take care of the kid. Now, is $20,000 a month necessary to take care of a child? Absolutely not. I mean, we already know this. I have a daughter. It doesn't take $20,000. I don't care how old they are. It's not that much. But Tyrese, this is just what comes with being as successful as you are and making the money that you have. I don't think that anybody should get $20,000 in child support, honestly. I think that's an egregious number, but that is what happens to these celebrities. So it's not like you're being singled out. So whether that's fair or not, that's one, I don't know. That's up for debate. You debate it on your own. But going back to my point of how men just can't handle breakups, it's like, I will say this, you guys. I think that, not in every case, but in a lot of cases, I think men love harder than women. I really do. I think that when a man really loves a woman, I think it might take him longer to arrive at that, or men tend to be a little more skeptical. Sometimes I think women, we jump into relationships head first, thinking every guy we meet, he's going to be Prince Charming, knowing damn well it's pee in the dating pool. Most people are trash, men and women. That's why when you find a solid one, you got to stick with them. So I think that it's harder for men to fall in love, but when they fall in love, because falling in love, there's a sense of vulnerability that you have to even fall in love with someone, right? And I think men struggle with that. So I think that when they finally open up, because the way he spoke about her was beautiful. It really was. I was like, whoa, she sound, it made me sad that she left because he was speaking so highly of her. He talked about he fell in love with her right away. Love at first sight. He told her on their first date that she would be his wife, and she ended up being his wife, and she held him down. I love the fact he talked about makes good money. She's a social worker, so she's a smart girl. She clearly went to college, all of that. She sounds lovely. But I think that this might have been the first woman where he really like bared his soul and became completely vulnerable. He said he gave up clubs and everything. And I think when men let their guards down like that, I just feel like it's an instant soul tie. And once that breaks, it really is hard for men to come back from. And again, it's hard for women too, but I just feel like the way it debilitates men is on a different level. Men cannot handle breakups. And I think that's why, you know, we all have, there's that saying, circling the block. Like, usually when a relationship ends, unless the woman's trash and he just had no feelings for her and he leaves. But when a woman leaves a man and he didn't want the relationship to end, he begs, most men come back. Every guy in my life that I've, you know, things haven't worked out with has tried to come back at one point or another. It's like clockwork almost. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it's just so hard for men to come back from it. And again, tying this back into Tyrese, we already know his behavior is a little erratic outside of the breakup, but I think that this breakup has made him crazy. I think he's absolutely obsessed with her. I think he's still in love with her. I think that he has not coped with everything. He made a comment in the interview, well, sometimes, you know, people say that when you break up with someone, you're not supposed to jump into relationship right away. But sometimes you should. No, Tyrese, you should not be in a relationship with this young lady, Zemi, when you're in love. You're in love with your ex-wife. Like, I don't care what you say. A blind man can see that you're in love with her. You should not have jumped back into a relationship. And it was so quick. Now, I think you said you've been divorced from her a little over a year. Maybe now if you wanted to like dip your toe into the dating pool and start hanging out with women. But as quick as you did, Tyrese, no. It's not healthy. You can't stop talking about her. Like, you cannot stop talking about her. And I think that this has made you erratic, irrational. I think you're lashing out at people that you care about. We saw all the stuff with, you know, DJ Envy and Gia, his wife. You know, I think that you are blaming people for the things that are going wrong in your life. And I'm going to be honest, this interview made me warm up to you a little more because I had canceled you, Tyrese, which is sad because you have it. Your TGT, y'all talked about the TGT album that clearly Genuine don't see it for y'all. We're clearly never getting another TGT album, which makes me sad because I love all of y'all. Tank is my favorite male singer, period. Tank, I stand for Tank. Love you, love Genuine. And we're never getting another TGT album, which is sad. I mean, I don't, you know, it made me a little bit sad. But, you know, you blame people for the situations that have gone wrong in your life, Tyrese. And it makes me sad for you because you're charismatic as hell. You're very funny. This interview actually made me remember why I liked you once upon a time. But I don't know. I just feel like Tyrese, and you're very stubborn too. You think you know it all, and you really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really don't know it all. None of us do, and that's okay. But as it pertains, I think you need to go see a relationship and healing coach, someone that can work one-on-one with you, because sometimes therapists are not great with healing from a relationship. There are specific relationship coaches. A lot of them are trash, so be careful which one you reach out to. But I think you need to talk to somebody, because I feel like once you have properly healed from whatever happened in your marriage that fell apart, like, we'll get a better version of you, Tyrese, because you are talented. You have an undeniable voice. We can't deny the classics. You are a good actor. Like, you bring a lot of joy to the world, but we don't want this BS. But like, this interview just highlighted to me how hard it is for men to deal with breakups versus women. How I do think, and I've said this before, we need to provide a safe space for men to mourn situations, to be vulnerable, to, be able to be expressive so that they can heal. But the internet's not the place to do it. And this is not just for Tyrese. anybody going through a breakup, like, don't post subliminals about your ex. It's funny that one person that we know, and men are not as bad with this. I feel like women are actually worse with this type of stuff, but for both men and women, you know, don't post subliminals about how I'm gonna glow up and I'm upgrading my life, or whatever these stupid little quotes that y'all be posting. Like, don't sub your ex. Nobody needs to go know on the internet that you're going through a breakup, because it's like, the internet is not the place to heal. It's just not. It's nothing but a whole bunch of mess and Baller Alert and Shade Room and trash and, you know, Gaza and everything. Like, a whole bunch of sad stuff that really has no proponent of healing properties, you know, involved in them. So get with your people, get with a therapist, spend time with your family. You have children, whatever, but, like, you know, do it off the internet. But I just think that I'm sad for men, because I really was like, dang, Tyrese is like really hurting. And I think what happens when you go through a breakup, it drudges up all the other childhood trauma. It really does. Like, so much is linked in your adult life, specifically romantic relationships, is linked to how you grew up and, you know, all of those things. It really is linked to that. So I think that when we're, as adults, when we experience tragedy or losses of love, all the things that we went through when we were a small child, and Tyrese has said, you know, he has abandonment issues from his mom to his dad. It makes us feel abandoned as adults, and if you haven't dealt with it, it's amplified. And I think for men, why it's so hard is because I think therapy is becoming more accepted, but women are more likely to go get help than men. And I think that is the bottom line, you know, to why men can't really deal with breakups and why they have such a hard time when they really love the woman, you know. So, but yeah, this interview just opened my eyes up to, like, look at Tyrese in a different light, because I do believe that he's hurting, and that a lot of his behavior is because he has not healed, and he's hurting, man. Like, and he don't have no business being with this new girl. Like, I feel for her. And he even said, which I couldn't believe he said this, he said that she feels now like he's just waiting to heal, or waiting, like, for his ex-wife to take him back, and then he's gonna leave her. It's funny that he said that, because before he even said that, I was like, ooh, if the ex-wife is, like, seriously trying to take him back, he's leaving this lady. And that is why you should not jump into relationships right after one ends, because that happens a lot, where people reconcile and then they get back with the ex, and then the new person, the rebound, if she's a rebound, is sitting there brokenhearted. And it's just the cycle of being brokenhearted it just continues. When, Tyrese, you could have just healed up and got yourself together before you got with Zimmy. I'm just saying. And men do that more than women. Women will, you know, women rebound too, but overwhelmingly men, when they're dealing with stuff, instead of dealing with it, they get with someone else. And it's like, no, I'm gonna need you to go somewhere and get some help and really deal with your feelings. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Tell me what your guys' perspective is. Have you seen the interview with Tyrese? If so, has that made you change your mind on how you feel about him? And then as it pertains to relationships and breakups, do you agree with me that men have harder times with breakups than women? Like, let's talk about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, and share, you guys. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.